Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Jack with the VaporCast store and VaporCast podcast. This video is going to be on the Ego Starter Kit, the basic Ego Starter Kit from VaporCastStore.com. So let's talk about what comes with the kit. First, you get to pick one 10 ml bottle of juice. You can choose this from any of the VaporCast originals or any of the VaporCast essentials. You can choose your flavor and your strength. Also, it's going to come with this Ego case. It's got two zippers on it. It's a pretty basic case. It's made of foam and plastic, I think. So inside, we've got a USB charging cable, a 1000 mAh USB rechargeable Genuine Joy battery, and a SmokeTech Mega Dual Coil Cartomizer. So let's talk a little bit about this hardware more in depth. So first off, we've got the Genuine Joy 1000 mAh USB rechargeable Ego battery. A lot to say for this thing. The great thing about these things, Joy over the last few years has proved to be a really reliable company. Their hardware's fit and finishes it usually seems to be a hair above a lot of the other companies we've tried. We love Joytech so far. 1000 mAh. 1000 mAh means for the normal vapor, that's going to last you most of the day. At least a whole bunch of hours, but for a moderate vapor you're going to get most of the day, if not longer, out of one of these on full charge. For real heavy vapor, you might get 5, 6, 7 hours out of it. Depends again how much you vape. If you use it constantly, it's obviously not going to last as long. But either way, 1000 mAh lasts quite a while. It's USB rechargeable, so you can see here the end cap unscrews, and then you have a mini USB port here. So you take your charging plug, small end goes in here, and then the larger USB goes into a powered USB outlet, so either on your computer or laptop, powered USB hub, anything like that, and it can charge. Really cool thing about that is you can charge this, like if you drain this all the way down completely dead, you can charge this in, or plug it in, let it charge for about 5-10 minutes, and you can actually start to vape on it while it's charging. And that way it kind of functions like a USB pass-through, an e-cigarette pass-through. Pretty cool. Another thing that these batteries have is a lock-unlock function. Right now I have it on, so if I press the button you can see it comes on. If I want to lock this, put it in my pocket, if I'm not going to have it out, press it 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It'll flash a few times, and now it'll be in the lock position. Now the reason this is important is for a couple reasons. When we ship these, we ship them locked. At least we try to ship them locked so that they won't accidentally discharge in the shipping process. Also, again, if you want to put this in your pocket, we recommend locking it, because if you don't lock it, it has that opportunity to discharge. If there's a cartomizer on there or something, you can burn those up and kind of ruin them. So again, 5 clicks, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and again, it's ready to go. One thing to note also here, when I press the button and I let off, it actually stays lit up for about a second and a half longer. That's okay, that's normal. You should expect that on most Ego batteries. So next up, or last in the kit I should say, is the cartomizer, the SmokeTech Dual Coil Mega Cartomizer. Again, quite a mouthful, but what this is a cartomizer that can hold a whole lot of juice. It's got 2 coils in there, so it performs really well. You get a lot of vapor, a lot of flavor. I personally am a huge fan of these. This was the cartomizer that brought me over to cartomizer usage. To fill these, I'm going to do kind of a brief explanation. I'm going to do a more in-depth video on how to fill these, actually show the process of how I fill it and everything. But to fill one of these, you just remove the mouthpiece, and then inside you can see we have a white polyfiber, and then there's a hole. Now, I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but if you look up into the light with it, this hole actually runs all the way through. This is an air channel, so when you're taking a puff on this, air is drawn up through there, brings vapor out through the mouthpiece into your mouth. That's how these function. So one thing important to note is that when you're filling these, you want to avoid getting liquid down into that hole. Now to fill these is actually pretty easy. You're going to take your liquid, you're going to pour a few drops onto the side, you're going to let it run down, hit that polyfiber, it'll sink in, and then you're going to basically do that until when it's full, the very top is going to look slushy. It's not going to look pulled up. If it's pulled up, it's a little bit too much. So you want to get it to where it looks slushy. And it's important that on your very first usage of this cartomizer, or really any cartomizer, is that you fill it properly the first time. And the reason is, if you don't fill the cartomizer completely, it has the chance to get burnt. If it's dry and you try to vape on it, those coils can heat up and burn the fiber inside. And what that'll cause is, when you're vaping, you'll always have a burnt flavor. Or if it gets burnt bad enough, it can actually char that fiber. It'll make it brittle, and the juice will just pour out of the bottom. So make sure you do it right the first time, or fill it up enough the first time. Now when I do it, I will put 5 or 6 drops in. I will turn it a third, 5 or 6 drops, turn it a third, until again it looks slushy at the top. Now a bit of note on cartomizers. Cartomizers, especially a mega cartomizer, are fantastic for a singular flavor, one that you're going to vape for several hours, maybe all day, maybe longer, again depending on how much you vape. What cartomizers are not good at is swapping between flavors. Because of all that polyfiber, it's basically incredibly difficult to get these completely empty once you've put juice in it the first time. Now this is okay if you have 2 juices that are similar. For instance, Prothol is a strong, creamy, minty menthol. And if you take Miller's Mint, a peppermint strong menthol, you put those into the same cartomizer, they're so similar in flavor, their profiles match. It works well. I often mix those 2 flavors together. But if you take something like biscotti, which is a rich dessert sort of flavor, and you put Prothol in it, you're going to have a mess. It just will not taste good. So in that case, if you're going to be trying a bunch of different flavors, you will want to consider getting either multiple cartomizers or maybe an atomizer. An atomizer is much smaller. It doesn't have polyfiber in there, so you can only put in a few drops. You can vape a few toots from it, and then you can put in a few more. But the great thing about that is you can blow those out into a paper towel, and you can swap flavors. You can clean it easier. So while the cartomizers will give you longevity, you don't have to fiddle with it. You fill it up, and then you vape for however long you can get out of it until you have to top it up again, which is just putting in a few more drops. The atomizer you have to fill up constantly, but you can swap flavors easier. So for the people who might be interested in how this performs, I have a mega cartomizer that I just recently filled up. This is Prothol, and battery's on, so it just screws into the top like this, and that is the device. Now obviously this doesn't look like a cigarette. In fact, it's even bigger than like a pin, considerably bigger. But what you will find is these will perform leaps and bounds above the way most cigarette-looking kits work. Not only do you have a tremendous amount of battery, you have more power, more durability, less charging, less need to have multiple batteries. I find this to be an excellent starting point. But I digress. This is how it performs. You can see it gives out a pretty good vapor. Now, of course, that's the way I vape. If you vape, if you take a longer, slower drag, you'll get better performance out of it. You don't have to take an extremely slow, long drag. You can if you want. If you take a sharper drag and less play, it'll look more like that. So, for me, this is a fantastic kit. The thing I love about it is the battery is nice quality. If you're just getting into vaping, this is a good place to start. It's not a cheaper battery. It'll function pretty well. They don't last forever. All this hardware eventually will have to be replaced, but you should get several months of usage out of it. The other great thing is if you get into electronic cigarettes and you want to buy more batteries, more atomizers, tri-atomizers, cartomizers, all this, tanks, this will work perfect in that kit. It's still a great battery. The cartomizer is still great. It'll still work. And it functions great in that setup. And if you get really into it and you get into like electronic cigarette mods, this is a great backup unit. If your mod gets damaged, you run out of battery, this is a great backup. Or just throw it in the car. If you forget your electronic cigarette, you always have something there. So I really like it. If you have any other questions or concerns, anything like that I didn't cover in this video, please feel free to contact us at contact@vaporcaststore.com. And other than that, this has been Jack from VaporCast Store and VaporCast Podcast. Have a great day.